Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. I need all of you to stop what you are doing and listen.
Cannonball!
Run. Cannonball Run, released in 1981 and is directed by Hal Needham, who's also behind such films like Smokey and the Bandit, Hooper, and Stroker Ace. And this film is starring Burt Reynolds, Roger Moore, Farrah Fawcett, Dom DeLuise, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Farr, Terry Bradshaw, Mel Tillis, Jackie Chan, and Michael Hui. And the reason why we're talking about the Cannonball Run today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a longtime contributor and supporter of this channel, Jeff Fry. Thank you very much for this recommendation. It's a movie that I have always heard about, and I always thought that this movie and Smokey and the Bandit were the same thing, because they're cross-country racing movies starring Burt Reynolds, directed by the same guy, so who's to fault me for thinking that? And as the film started, I was thinking that this was a sequel, or at least connected in the same universe as Smokey and the Bandit, but no, this is something completely different, that this is a parody, right, on a whole bunch of other franchises that use dashing older men with mustaches and driving cars around. It takes all of them, and they all have cameos in this movie of them doing the same thing, but it's for laughs, it's for a light-hearted romp, it's for a light-hearted adventure. That was just my take on it. Of course, I wasn't alive back in 1981, so I don't know if this would be equal to what we would get nowadays with spoof parody movies, like an Airplane. Well, that's a terrible example because that's also from the 80s, like an Airplane or a Scary Movie type thing. But we'll talk about it here in a couple seconds. Thank you very much, Jeff, for the recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Jeff Fry and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out just like what I did with Jeff Fry here. The Cannonball Run refers to a cross-country car race that starts in Connecticut and ends in California. And of course, whoever wins this race wins a big pot of cash at the end. And what follows is a cast of crazy kooks who are looking to go on this thing. Notable participants, we have Jackie Chan starring in his second American film, Roger Moore, who is not playing James Bond but is definitely playing James Bond, and Burt Reynolds playing J.J. McClure, who I don't know how but is not his same character from Smokey and the Bandit. So along the way they get into a whole bunch of antics, driving cars into pools, driving cars into the front lobby of hotel rooms. Like, that was that was the part that I was trying to get past. Like, all of these assholes who are taking part in this race are just swinging their dicks wherever they go, and they all can't park worth shit. Seriously, the first half of this movie, the race hasn't even started, and every single one of them gets into some type of accident where they crash into a building, they crash into a pool, they crash into the front lobby of the hotel. I feel like there were like 3 or 4 of them that ended up in the front lobby with their cars. But apparently these people are so cool that they're able to get away with it. I don't understand racing. I just don't get into it. I don't understand it, but I must be in the minority because racing has a huge following and, you know, I'm just not a part of it. And the movie really did confuse me because I was trying to take it seriously, but I think halfway through I was realizing, no, this is a parody. This is taking a whole bunch of masculine franchise characters and putting them into this movie, not playing those exact characters, but definitely playing those characters. And they're making fun of themselves. Especially Roger Moore. He is playing a character named Seymour in this movie, but this Seymour is obviously an actor portraying some type of gentleman spy-like person. He has a different woman sitting in his passenger seat in every single scene that he has, and he drives the same car as James Bond does, with all the same gadgets and ejector seats and everything. Even when he's driving, we get into a similar cadence in the music, the dun 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 dun. It's not the exact same copyright, of course, but it's definitely similar, and you get the same idea as to who this person is as he's driving, just listening to the music. And then Burt Reynolds is back working with this director again. I guess they've worked on so many different productions together, all dealing or at least closely dealing with some type of race or automobile. He plays a character named J.J. McClure, and they put him in an ambulance in this movie. I think they have a lot of fun with his status from Smokey and the Bandit, just putting him in an ambulance, which is not a black Trans Am by any means. But even in this movie, he has a little comment. They're trying to figure out what car they want to use for this race, and he throws it out there like, could use a black Trans Am, but that's been done before. Like I said, it took me a long time to figure out, oh, this is a parody of all these different things. This isn't its own singular thing. We are taking a collage of all these other franchises, putting them in here, making fun of it, and having a lot of laughs along the way. I do like Burt Reynolds' relationship and chemistry with Dom DeLuise. I think they work off well with each other. DeLuise, of course, is a great comedic variety show actor. He showed up on a bunch of variety shows, Mel Brooks films. One of those actors who I feel gets overshadowed or overlooked when talking about the great comedic actors of our time. He was definitely one of them, and it's great to see him shine in a parody film like this, even with his alter ego, Captain Chaos. I think in the bloopers they call him Captain America or whatever. He is just fun, and seeing his connection and chemistry with Burt Reynolds was also hilarious. I would say that this film is fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be lighthearted. I feel, though, because I didn't grow up with these actors and with these characters, except for James Bond, that's the only character that I really grew up with. Because I didn't grow up with all of these different characters and actors, that the uniqueness of putting them all together in a film like this, it was lost on me. Whereas if this is someone of an older generation watching this movie, they probably have a huge laugh, and this is probably one of their favorite comedies in their catalog. I was just disappointed that there's barely any racing in here. This is Hale Needman, and this is Burt Reynolds. Like, there's Smokey and the Bandit. I loved Smokey and the Bandit. That was so much fun. And there was racing from beginning to end. In here, the whole first half, like I said, is a whole bunch of people not knowing how to park, and they crash into buildings. And then the second half is the race, but we barely have any racing. We have the cars driving a little bit, then we cut to another person, and then we cut back to this other couple, and they're being pulled over, and they're using their sex appeal to get out of tickets. Then we cut to another pair of drivers, and they're doing their infrared thing. And then we go back to the same drivers, they're pulled over again, they're getting out of a ticket with their feminine wiles. I just feel like we missed out on all the racing. There's barely any racing in here. So the Cannonball Run, I definitely appreciate it for what it is. Maybe it's not a film for my generation, but maybe a previous generation of mine that grew up with these actors and these character types would definitely love this movie way more than I did. I'm going to give the Cannonball Run 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen the Cannonball Run, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.